Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Autodrome for what is round 2 of the Golf Radical Cup. Well, today we only have one singular race, and that is the 45-minute Enduro. And that means we have to set up the field once again. We had 2 sprint races yesterday, both won by Harry Hannum, and he sat on pole position in both sessions. Will he be able to do it again here in our third and final race of the day? Well, we have 15 minutes to sort that out. We have a total of 15 Golf Radical Cup cars that are taken to the track, including Andy Lowe, Johnny Kazum, Yahid Karim, Alexander Novichkov, Alexander Klebanov, Sibin Yousaf, Amir Faison, Alexander Chichava, Alan Alfonsi, Sergey in the 44, our newcomer Alexis in the 87, and Vasily Vatikin in the number 96, as well as Alex Bukanchdov in the 63. Now those two, Alex Bukanchdov and Alexander Novichkov, have both put their outlap times in so far, but those are not the times to beat at the moment. We will now get these hot laps coming in. It's obviously everyone has exited the pit lane, and now it's time for their flying laps to really set the pace up here for our endurance race that'll take place later on today. It'll be a 45-minute Enduro featuring one mandatory pit stop. And looking at the time of day, it's going to be very, very warm on that pit lane because they have to sit stationary for 45 seconds. 3 drivers will actually have to sit stationary for an additional time as well, be it 5, 10 or 15 seconds. We'll get to that later on when we have more information about who exactly will be sat there in those positions for just a little bit longer compared to everybody else, and it will feel like an absolute eternity when they sit in that in their grid boxes for that amount of time. So we will wait for the first laps to come in. We've got purple times already coming through. Alex Bukanchdov has gone purple through sector 1 with a 42.341. And while the rest of the field make their way out of the pit lane and onto the track, we'll soon see what the field will look like when we get to the end of the qualifying session. So Bukanchdov across the line there with a 2:06.746, now tops the timesheets here, does the former champion in the series. Great to have him back for another crack at the championship as Andy Lowe goes second fastest at the moment with a 2:23.598, and he's gone purple through sector 1 as well as Andy Lowe. But now Alexander Novichkov goes second fastest with a lap time of 2:10.551. Well, that'll make that the 87 actually puts that lap time in and goes second fastest of all, 3.8. Alexander Novichkov now sits third with a 2:11.785. Andy Lowe on a hot lap here as well. Now we have him going purple through sector 2 with a 49.805. He will be absolutely delighted with a front-running position as well. Will Andy Lowe in the number 4. We didn't see him on the podium in the national class, and Andy Lowe has just gone quickest of all here around the Autodrome with a 2:06.499, 0.2 of a second faster than the man we're currently looking at, Alex Bukanchdov. So as we wait for Alex Bukanchdov to come through the final corner, will it be an improvement on his side? Now, Andy Lowe's time has been removed by the looks of it. He's been shuffled all the way down to 12th position here at the Dubai Autodrome. Well, Alex Bukunchtov goes quicker. Now the gap between first and second is 6.3 seconds. A 2:05.395 purple through Sector 2 and Sector 3. Cars 33. Well, just that singular car has had a lap time deleted. No note about Andy Lowe's time being deleted, though, either, which is quite strange because he certainly seemed to be on pace here today. And he would be absolutely delighted to start on the front row of the grid here in the Golf Radical Cup. If it were to be, it would be his first time starting in such a position. And of course now he's going to fight hard to see if he can reclaim the top step of the timesheets here. So still looking at Alex Bukunchtov, the provisional pole sitter for now. Now, just looking through our list here, Harry Hannum all the way down in 14th, but he was one of the last Golf Radical Cup cars to make their way onto the track here, sort of leaving it as late as possible here and trying to avoid as much traffic as possible, as Vasily Vladikin now being shown as the man on the top of the timesheets, a 2:03.296 for the Cypriot. Started our first race yesterday from the pit lane, managed to carve his way through the field. And in our second race of the day, so Andy Lowe's also gone back up to the second grid position for now, and that's a very interesting place for him to be. As you said before, we've not seen him floating around that high inside the top 5. We have seen him dicing up for positions higher up the order, as now Alex Bukunchtov goes second quickest, 1.1 seconds off of Vasily Vladikin's time of 2:03.296. Bukunchtov's 2:04.467, good enough still for the front row of the grid. Car 11 has had a lap time deleted. That's Alexander Klebanov down in 14th at the moment with a 2:17.419 is his quickest so far. Johnny Kazum goes third fastest, 8/1000th of a second off of Alex Bukunchtov's time with a 2:04.475. Amir Faislin makes his way up the order now, fourth quickest here as Andy Lowe shuffled all the way down to 5th position. Now Harry Hannum in 12th at the moment at 2:07.115, but he's going green through Sector 1, but Vasily Vladikin has gone purple through Sector 1 and Sector 2 here, bringing now the fastest time to the sheet at 2:02.589. That time round, purple through the first 2 sectors. Car 11 still has that lap time deleted for track limits through turn 3. That lap has been removed from him as Sergey in the 44 is across the line in 9th position. I'd card him now up inside the top 10. But Sibin Yousaf now goes second quickest here at the Dubai Autodrome, 1.3 seconds behind Vasily Vladikin with a 2:03.916. This is very interesting to see where Harry Hannum is at the moment, being shown as 14th fastest, green through 1 and 2. Now 40.650, that is quicker than Sibin Yousaf, and it's also quicker through the first sector than the man that sat in second position. But Vasily Vladikin has the pace here in that 96, that second car in shot. As across the line comes Harry Hannum to take provisional pole here by 0.8 of a second. We knew it was coming, and it was Sector 3 where we made the most amount of time, 33.475 through that third and final sector. Now, what can Vasily Vladikin do about this? He's purple through Sector 1. Can he go again purple through Sector 2 and the third sector to retake the top of the timesheets here? As Perry Deramas now up into third position overall, took his first victory in the national class yesterday. And it was delighted with that finish. Great to see him back on the podium as well. We didn't get to see much of him during the first race weekend that we had a few weeks ago at the Yas Marina circuit for our opening round of the championship, which of course we will return to later on in the season. Waiting for Vasily to come through the second sector as Amir Faislin now fourth fastest, and Vasily Vladikin now working his way through the final corner. There is 96, closest to our shot there, and across the line comes Vasily Vatikin, and he takes the top of the timesheets now by 1/10 of a second over Harry Hannum, but Hannum has just gone purple through the first sector in that number 19, a 40.442, and to have a look at a former champion in the series, we have to look all the way down to 8th position. In the 63 is Alex Bukanshtov with a 2:06.170. He's improving his lap time here at the moment, green through the first sector. And another champion, Alexander Novichkov, our national class champion from last year, sat in 7th position here at the moment. 2.5 minutes remain on the clock. Will Vasily Vatikin be our first different pole sitter, or better yet, second different pole sitter? Because of course we had Harry Hannum take pole yesterday in both races. But will it be the way of the 96? We'll have to wait and see when he comes across the line and when it comes to the end of the session, because Harry Hannum has just retaken pole position, but a slow sector 3. But purple through the first and second sector, 0.4 of a second faster compared to Vasily Vatikin's fastest time so far. Now Vatikin is improving about 4/1000 of a second slower through the first sector compared to Harry Hannum, the young British driver, champion in Clio Cup Middle East last season, as Alex Bukanshtov moves now up into 7th position. Novichkov bumped down to 8th place. The two that started on the first 2 rows of the grid here, with Bukanshtov being, actually no, they shared that second row. They didn't know, they shared the right-hand side of the track actually, didn't they? Because it was Hannum and Bukanshtov, and then it was Kazum and Novichkov. Now across the line there was Alexander Klebanov. No improvement on his side, nor for Johnny Kazum as well. Still in 10th place at the moment. Alexander Tchava now 12th overall with a minute to go on the clock. Alan Alfonsi putting in a lap time here as well. It's interesting that not a single lap time has been showing up on our timing screens. Now, car 96 has had a lap time removed, or better yet, he's had 2 lap times removed. The 4th and 5th lap, and that drops him down to 5/10 of a second back from Harry Hannum, who's gone purple once again through the first sector. A little bit slower than his race best so far, or qualifying best essentially, in the second sector, but is still on the pace through that 3rd sector is Harry Hannum. And provisionally we Hannum and Vasily Vatikin sharing the front row of the grid here. Will we see a change come the end of the session? It looks like Hannum's got at least 1 more lap if he would like to do so. He doesn't necessarily have to push at the moment, but he does, and he makes it that much more difficult for those behind him to take away pole position from him, as he's just done a 2:01.827, purple through sector 1 and sector 3, and even with a slow sector 2 time, still has provisional pole and improved on his lap time as well, making it almost 0.6 of a second separating himself and Vasily Vatikin. Bukanshtov across the line could only muster up 6th fastest here. And was that a lap time that's being removed as well from Alex Bukanshtov? Now, does that drop him down the order? It was a 2:03.968 last time round as his best lap. But is that one being removed, I wonder, as per the message that popped up on our timing screen? Alexander Novichkov, 8th fastest. Amir Faison, 5th fastest. What has happened over the evening to Bukanshtov, as now he goes down to 8th after having that lap time deleted, and he will share the 4th row of the grid with Alexander Novichkov, a former champion, well actually 2 former champions, will share the 4th row of the grid. This is going to make the endurance race later on today very, very interesting, as Harry Hannum, provisional pole, the checkered flag is out at the moment. But is there anyone that is on a hot lap here at the moment? Andy Lowe's gone quick through sector 2, but not purple. He comes across the line. Does he improve? No, he stays 6th fastest and will share the 3rd row of the grid with Amir Faison. But what about Sibin Yousaf and Perry Deramas? No green sector times or purple ones in 1 or 2 for those two. They may have to settle for the 2nd row of the grid, but they'll be happy with that, as will the team. As Sibin Yousaf, on his return to the championship, pulls into the pit lane. We'll definitely be happy with a second row start here in the Golf Radical Cup endurance race. That'll take place later on today, a 45-minute race it will be, as Vasily Vatikin is across the line. Only Perry Deramas can be the one to spoil his fun here and deny him that second starting position. But Deramas comes into the pit lane and he will settle for the second row of the grid, lining up alongside series returnee Sibin Yousaf. So all the cars now will make their way into Parc Ferme, and there is the pole sitter, the number 19, Harry Hannum. It's been a perfect weekend for him so far. 2 pole positions, 2 race victories. Looking for a 3rd race victory here after essentially securing pole position. There's Alex Bukanchdov in what is, as James Winslow described it yesterday, unfamiliar territory for the former champion. This may be one of his lowest starting positions we've seen for quite some time as well. And this man right here, Alexander Novichkov, will line up alongside him, the defending national class champion, again in unfamiliar territory. And here is the provisional qualifying results here. Harry Hannum for Gulfsport Racing takes pole position alongside Vasily Vatikin for Continental Racing, will share that front row of the grid. Perry Deramas for Gulfsport Racing will be 3rd, with Sibin Yousaf alongside for company on row number 4 in his return to the championship. Then Amir Faison in the Dream Racing number 15 will line up 5th, with Andy Lowe alongside for company for Gulfsport Racing. Alexander Novichkov and Alex Bukanchdov will share the 4th row of the grid, with Alexander Klebanov and Alexander Chichava sharing the 5th row of the grid. And that's interesting that all 4 Alexes are in close proximity. They're all sharing 2 rows, with Johnny Kazoum down in 11th, Sergey in 12th, Yahid Khanum 13th, Alexis in 14th, and at the tail end of the field, Alan Alfonsi for Gulfsport Racing with a 206.019, and the 33 will round out our 15 qualifiers here in the Golf Radical Cup for the 25-26 season, the 2nd endurance race of the calendar, with a 45-minute enduro coming away later on today. And before we go, why don't we check out some highlights here from our qualifying session for the endurance race.